What is going on, everybody? Welcome to my official 2023 bracket breakdown video. Now, I know this is a long-awaited video because everything I do is long-awaited and it takes forever to get here, but this is my bracket breakdown. Yes, I've uploaded now 2 times in a matter of 3 days. I'm very proud of myself. But let's get into these predictions. I tried to not go chalk on everything. I tried to throw in some curveballs, throw in some wacky predictions. I wanted to make it a little bit fun, and I also really wanted to do what I wanted to do this year, which was make my bracket. Not trying to be perfect. I just want to do what I think will happen and maybe what I kind of want to happen. That's kind of what I went for this year. So without further ado, let's get into this thing. Now, in the first 4, Alabama will face the winner of the first 4 matchup between Texas A&M Corpus Christi and Southeast Missouri. I'm going to go with Texas A&M Corpus Christi to win that game, but I like Alabama pretty easily there. West Virginia and Maryland, this is obviously the coin flip of the century. And of course, they make this the first game of the tournament, but I'm going to go with West Virginia there. I kind of like what their team has more offensively. Then we've got San Diego State and Charleston. I really like San Diego State there. Then we got Virginia and Furman. I'm actually going to take Virginia to win this game. I got to trust Tony Bennett. He's won me a national championship before one of my bracket breakdown videos, so got to thank him there. Then we got Creighton and North Carolina State. I actually really like Creighton here. I think that they've got matchup problems for what North Carolina State wants to do, and I feel like that altitude might get to DJ Burns, which would not be good because he's out of the game. I don't think that North Carolina State's as good offensively. Then we've got Baylor and UC Santa Barbara. This really could go either way, but I like Baylor to win the game at least. Then we've got Missouri and Utah State. I like Utah State offensively. I don't think Missouri is as good defensively, even though they kind of are havoc defense, but I like Utah State. I think their offense can pull them through. Then we've got Arizona and Princeton, and I like Arizona there. All right, let's move on down to the East. We've got Purdue and Texas Southern versus Fairleigh Dickinson. I like Texas Southern to win that game because I like Johnny Jones, but I'll have Purdue winning that game pretty easily. Then we've got Memphis and FAU. This was a really tough matchup, but I like Memphis to win that game. Then we've got Duke and Oral Roberts. Now, Duke is probably everybody's pick to win the East region because of how well they're playing. But I told myself that before the bracket came out, I'm picking Oral Roberts, and I got to stick with that. I've got Oral Roberts winning this game. I don't feel great about it because of how good Duke has looked, but you know what? Max Abmas, I'm not going to bet against him again. So I've got Oral Bob winning that game. There you go. Then we've got Tennessee and Louisiana. Now, this is one of those that I think could be the upset, but I like Tennessee, their size. I think that they're just a lot bigger than Louisiana, so I trust them to get the job done at least one time. Then we've got Kentucky and Providence. I like Kentucky. I feel like Cal's got to win a tournament game. He hasn't won since 2019, so you got to win at least one, Cal. Come on. Just pull through once, and Oscar, he cannot go winless at Kentucky in the tournament. I just don't believe in that. Then we've got Kansas State and Montana State. I like Kansas State a lot in this matchup. Then we've got Michigan State and USC. This is a really tough matchup because I don't like, I like the fact that USC has a lot of size, but I think that Michigan State, their fans will pull through. This is in Columbus, so I like them there. And all right, here's an upset. I've got Vermont beating Marquette. I do not feel great about this, but this is one of those games that I was probably going to go to, but I decided not to, and I feel like this is one where it's just going to bite me. I feel like, I don't know, there's just some magic here. This is one of those I'm just throwing a dart. We'll see if it lands. It more than likely will not. More than likely it's going to cost me a lot of points in my bracket, but you know what? I wanted to take a risk. I never pick 15 seeds. There you go. I've got one for you. I felt like Vermont was underseeded anyway, so I'm just throwing it out there. We'll see what happens. All right, now moving on to the Midwest. I like Houston over Northern Kentucky. I hope they win that game. I do not like Northern Kentucky. Then we've got Iowa and Auburn. Then I like Auburn winning this game because I like that they're kind of at a home game in Birmingham. Then we've got Miami and Drake. This is another school that I said that I was picking no matter what. I like Drake to win this game. There's another upset pick for you. Indiana and Kent State. I actually like Kent State in this game. This is another upset pick. I think that they've just played so well against great teams in college basketball this year because they scheduled Houston and Gonzaga. So I like them to win at least one game. There you go. That's another upset pick. Iowa State and Mississippi State or Pittsburgh. I like Pittsburgh to win in the first 4, but I like Iowa State defensively. I feel like they're just such a they're a well-rounded team, and they've really bought into what TJ Otzelberger is selling. Xavier Kennesaw State, I like Xavier to win that game. Texas A&M and Penn State, this is really one of the trickiest games of the NCAA tournament, but I like Texas A&M to win the game. This is one of those where maybe a week ago I would have been like, oh yeah, Penn State, no way they're winning a game. But after watching them in the Big Ten tournament, it's hard not to buy into what they're selling. But I'm going to take Texas A&M because I feel like they've got a little bit of fire within them, losing out on a better seed because they're a 7 seed and they were second in the SEC. That's kind of crazy. Then we've got Texas and Colgate. I like Colgate to win this game. This isn't the same exact thing as that Vermont game. I know this is bizarre. You're probably laughing. This is probably going to go horribly wrong, but Colgate and Vermont both slow the tempo down and they shoot threes. and that's what pulls off an upset in March Madness. You have to limit the amount of shots in the game. That's how you stay in a game, and I feel like they're bigger this year. Colgate is, and this is one of those, I'm more than likely going to be wrong, but so be it. I wanted to give you guys something fun. There you go. Colgate over Texas. 2 15 seeds winning. I've already made my selections. I got to stick with them. Kansas and Howard. I like Kansas to win that game. Arkansas versus Illinois. I like Arkansas to win that game. St. Mary's and VCU. This is one of those that could go either way, but I like St. Mary's. I like Mahaney. I feel like this team's got to win at least something in the NCAA tournament. UConn and Iona, this is another one of those games that really could go either way, and I said I was going to pick Iona no matter who they were playing, but I changed my mind. I like UConn. They're just too good offensively and defensively, and they've got too much size. Then we've got TCU and Arizona State, Nevada. I like Arizona State to win that game, but I like TCU to win against them. And then Gonzaga versus Grand Canyon. I like Gonzaga to win that game, which will kind of set up a funny matchup between literally the same logos. I just noticed that. Northwestern and Boise State. I like Boise State to win this game because I feel like Boise State's not won a tournament game, and I think since the 70s. And I feel like they've got to win one. Come on. And the coach's son, he's a senior. He's honestly, maybe their best player. I feel like they've got to win at least one game under his tenure. You can't just go winless with your son on the team. UCLA versus UNC Asheville. I like UCLA to win that game as well. All right, now we're done with the first round. Let's speed this up and get through the round of 32, Sweet 16. All right, Alabama, West Virginia. That's pretty easy. I like Alabama there. Then I like Virginia to beat San Diego State. This is one of those that could really go either way, but I just got to trust Tony Bennett. Then we've got Creighton and Baylor. I like Creighton. And then we've got Arizona and Utah State, and I've got Arizona winning that game. So there you go. There's the Sweet 16 matchups. Down to the East, I like Purdue to beat Memphis because I feel like it's hard to prep for Purdue on a one-day prep. And then Oral Roberts, I like them over Tennessee a lot. Whoever really wins this game is going to go to the Sweet 16 anyway. And I'm just going to trust Oral Roberts. Everybody's picking Duke. I'm going to try to throw a curveball. Go with Oral Roberts. Then we've got Kentucky and Kansas State. I like Kentucky a lot to win that game. And then Vermont and Michigan State. I think that's a pretty easy win for Michigan State. And this sets up a pretty interesting matchup in the Garden between two blue bloods. So there you go. Moving on to the Midwest, I like Houston over Auburn a lot. And then I like Drake over Kent State. I think that this Drake team's really good. They're super old, and I'm not going to go against Tucker DeVries. There you go. Xavier and Iowa State. I like Xavier to win that game. And then Texas A&M against Colgate. I like Texas A&M as well there. So that's what I think for the Midwest in the Sweet 16. Kansas and Arkansas, this really could go either way, especially if Arkansas plays well, but I like Kansas. And then we got St. Mary's and UConn, and I like UConn a lot there. Gonzaga versus TCU, I think that matches up well for Gonzaga. And then we've got UCLA versus Boise State, and I like UCLA to win that matchup. All right, now we've got the Sweet 16. So Alabama and Virginia, I like Alabama pretty easily there. I think that would be just a rout. And then we've got Creighton and Arizona, and I like Creighton to win this matchup. They played each other already once this year. Now, Creighton lost that game, but this is a Creighton team that I told myself, all right, they're starting five. I think they're better than basically everybody in college basketball. When it comes to the tournament, you don't need a bench to win. You just need a really solid starting five, and I think they have that. So there's an upset pick for you. I got Creighton getting to the Elite Eight. Then moving down, we've got Purdue and Oral Roberts. I like Purdue to win there. And then I actually have Kentucky getting to the Elite Eight. This is not something I feel great about, but I just actually really like their matchups, and especially if Marquette falls, that would set up a great run for Kentucky to get to the Elite Eight, get some confidence back in Coach Calipari. This is, again, one that could go really bad for me, but I'm just going to pick them to get there. We'll see what happens. Then we've got Houston and Drake. I like Houston to win there. I think that's a pretty great matchup for them. And then Xavier and Texas A&M. I actually have Texas A&M getting to the Elite Eight. There's another upset pick for you guys. West region, Kansas versus UConn. This is really one that could go either way, but I'm actually going to take UConn to win this game. And then Gonzaga and UCLA. I like Gonzaga to win this game because without Jalen Clark, I feel like they're just missing something. They could have been the national champion, but missing your the best defensive player in all of college basketball, that is a huge blow. So I'm going to pick Gonzaga to get to the Elite Eight. So there you go. There's the Elite Eight for me. Let's pick who gets to the Final Four. So out of the South region, I have Creighton beating Alabama to get to the Final Four. This is a shocker. Honestly, I can't believe I'm doing this because Alabama looks so dominant, but I'm just going to trust this Creighton team. A lot of my predictions are going to be ride or die. These are teams that I watched during the regular season, and I'm just like, okay, they've got a really well-rounded starting five that I think could win in the NCAA tournament. They try to slow the pace down. They try to play defensive basketball. I just got to pick Creighton because everybody's picking Alabama. They just look like such a lock, and I'm trying to throw curveballs for you guys to try to make this interesting. So there you go. I got Creighton getting to the Final Four. That's a massive upset. Then moving down to the East region in Madison Square Garden, Zach Edey versus Oscar Tshiebwe. This is one of those matchups that more than likely won't happen, but I'm picking it, and I like Purdue to get to the Final Four for Matt Painter. I feel like they've just gotten so close every single time, or they just get upset early and everybody's fading them. And I'm trying with my bracket this year to go for the faded teams, because you never know with March Madness. It could be chalk, but it could be chaos. And I think that chaos is happening. This was a really weird year in college basketball. So why not pick Purdue? It would just be awesome to see. And I really am going to cheer for them in this NCAA tournament. I want to see them get far. I'm tired of the Purdue hate. This is honestly, my bracket is for the haters. If this happens, this would just be outstanding. That's what I kind of went for. So I like Purdue to get to the Final Four. All right, now we've got the Midwest region. Now this was one that took me the longest to get through. I'm like, all right, Houston, they were honestly the preseason favorite in a lot of ways. The Final Four is in Houston, but there's just something about this Texas A&M team that I like. So I'm going to pick them to get to the Final Four. That sets up a pretty interesting Final Four for me so far. I know. I feel so bad about doing all of this stuff, but I'm going with what I want. So there you go. Texas A&M getting to the Final Four. Buzz Williams deserves a deep run in March Madness. He's never had one. I feel like this would be the team to do it. Then we've got the West region, and this one takes, I mean, honestly, you could really go either way with either of these teams. But you know what? I got to pick Gonzaga, guys. Everybody's fading them. And I feel like, obviously, this isn't the best team that they've ever had. But I feel like a lot of national champions are never the best teams that a team has had in their history, or in really even the past couple of years. So Gonzaga getting to the Final Four would just be hilarious, because this obviously is not their best team. But that's what I think is going to happen. So there you go. I've got my Final Four: Creighton, Purdue, Texas A&M, and Gonzaga. Creighton, Purdue in the Final Four to get to the national championship game. I've got Purdue winning that game. I've got Purdue in my national championship game. I don't really care. Let's move on to the other side. Texas A&M versus Gonzaga. All right, I've got to go Gonzaga here. I think that this would set up a great national championship game. This is exactly what I want to happen. Purdue, Gonzaga, two teams that everybody mocks, everybody laughs at. They're never going to win a national championship. They are so overrated every single year. To see this in the national championship game would be outstanding for me. I want this to happen. And to win the national championship game in my bracket, I've got Gonzaga winning the national championship game. I know I pick them every year. This is the last time I will ever pick them. So why not pick them now? Why would I fade them one last time? This is their only chance left, I feel like. This is the last time Mark Few could ever win a national championship with a roster that has Drew Timme, the all-time leading scorer in Gonzaga history. They feel like they have guards. I mean, this is one of those things where when I filled this out, I've been filling these out the past couple of nights thinking about this, and every time I'm like, oh man, I don't think Gonzaga can just get it done. And then I'm seeing other people's predictions, and nobody has Gonzaga winning the national championship. And every year, a team that wins the national championship is one that nobody thinks, or at least not the favorite, the prohibitive favorite. And Gonzaga fits that mold perfectly. Everybody's fading them. There you go. Gonzaga wins the national championship in my book. I would love for this to happen. This would be a great national championship game. And that's going to do it for my bracket breakdown. You can laugh at me in the comments. Please make fun of all my predictions. I'm putting it out there in the world. So let's see what happens. Let me know your guys' predictions down below. I'm really excited for March Madness. I'm honestly excited to see how horribly this goes. But anyway, that's going to do it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed the unpredictability of what I was doing. And I will see you soon.